So, very welcome to everyone, and a happy Friday morning to you all. It has felt like an interesting week. Very much an interesting week. How did everybody do with all of this market craziness? I have a confession to make, and I'll tell you in a second. But how did everybody do? We had a lot of news. We had a lot of movement. We had a lot of stuff. And how did it go for you guys? Everyone do okay? Grab a few pips in the madness and in the chaos and all of the activity. We probably saw more, just short term crazy movement this week than we've probably seen in a pretty long time. Um, where markets would move a large amount in a couple of hours, and then just you know be a little bit of a wild frontier type market. Mostly lots of no fills. All right, Marcia. so so I have, I've been watching these markets all day, most of all day, every day, watching for entries, watching for activity, of course, sending out trade ideas to you guys and trying to do all that. I just simply did not want to get in the market this week. And I don't know that I have had a week like this in a very long time, especially with all the movement that we had. Normally, this is a pretty exciting week. There's a lot to do, and I just looked at the calendar and I thought to myself, okay, here we go. And we started off. I wasn't expecting so much movement out of this guy right here, but we got a ton of movement. On Tuesday, we had the Aussie CPI news, and Aussie pairs went, bananas. What's a good Aussie pair example? I mean, any of them, but I think the Aussie CAD is one of my favorite ones to just look at and say, "Holy smokes!" So let's see. Going back to kind of 23rd ish. Here's that big Aussie spike down, and then we had a nice turnaround, and everything just kind of went so nuts this week. And I thought to myself, wasn't totally planning on that. That made a huge move, and I thought, okay, I'm going to let these Aussie pairs kind of breathe and do their thing, and we'll see how they go. And then so that kind of happened, and then of course we knew we had big CAD news coming up the next day. So I was looking at a lot of CAD pairs, and so I thought, okay, I'll let the news hit, and then the CAD went nuts, right? And then it went crazy. I thought, okay, well, there's that. And then we followed up the next day with Euro news, which we were on for all of it, and just kind of watching everything, and more Euro craziness. And so it kind of just turned out that I decided that I was just gonna. I just essentially set everything out and didn't get into anything. It just there was so much movement and so much craziness, which is good, which is super good. That I just as far as getting you guys into trades and calling trades and so on, I thought I have got to wait for these markets to chill out. So in case anybody's wondering why there weren't more kind of official trades sent out this week, it wasn't because I was taking a vacation or doing anything. I watched these markets and I thought I feel better giving these things a moment, giving them a little bit of time to breathe, and then getting some trend and getting some real nice entries that I really badly want to have. So anyway, that's kind of how it went for me this week. Lots of movement, but maybe it was just one of those weeks where I just was not feeling super risky, and that could have been it because I have traded much more active, much more volatile weeks than this one. And this week, I just thought I don't want to get in front of any of this stuff. We have so much potential movement, and then the movement was massive, and I just kind of set it out. So, Mike, maybe because it's been so slow previously, any excuse to move caused a lot of movement. Yeah, that is definitely a good point, Mike. There has been some kind of quiet movement, and so yeah, markets were just really, really waiting and really, really anticipating the coming news. And boy, that stuff hit and everything went nuts. Now, again, we've seen as much or more movement from similar types of news announcements, but This one I just thought, phew, and and it came and went. Did some commenting on the on the CAD news and how that all played out. Did lots of commenting on the I was live in the chat on the ECB news and watching that hit and watching that go crazy, and it was just all nuts, just craziness. So now that markets have calmed down, the question is, what are we gonna do about it? So what are you guys loving? What's everybody kind of looking at? What really gets your interest going? What what's everyone loving? Everyone loving some CAD weakness, pound strength, Euro weakness, New Zealand dollar. I mean, we got all kinds of things to be looking at. So let's have a look at that. Now, speaking of news, speaking of all of this stuff, daylight savings coming up for a lot of others, not us yet, but I think that's in a couple of weeks, right? Maybe 2 weeks from now. Let me see. Do we have any more daylight savings next run? Hmm. Hmm. We don't. So I guess that's coming up. I think 2 weeks. 2 weeks later. But okay, so Mike, I love that pound cad. I love me that pound cad. Um, so just a quick look at what we have coming up next week. Uh, heavy news week next week. So Canadian and U.S. employment numbers next Friday. UK interest rate news Thursday. FOMC statement, all of that stuff Wednesday. New Zealand employment numbers Tuesday. I don't know why I'm going backwards, but I am. Monday, Bank of Japan press conference, interest rate news, blah blah blah. So we have at least one or multiple huge announcements Monday through Friday. Yeah. So next week should be very interesting. Should be active. There will be plenty of news and plenty of volatility to get to get markets moving through. Now this stuff is sometimes a bit more tradable. Obviously the press conference for Japan and the interest rate news will probably be somewhat unchanged and probably not be too active. But we're always on high alert for that. We never know really what it's going to be anyway because it's always tentative. So we'll be ready for that kind of stuff. New Zealand news, we'll trade the heck out of that. That's 2:45 in the afternoon, 5:45 p.m. Eastern, 2:45 p.m. Pacific. We'll go for that. That'll be good stuff. Going into Wednesday, we may have a little bit of a slow morning, but the FOMC statement will definitely be something that we're going to watch and potentially trade on Wednesday afternoon. So we'll see. We get some stuff happening there. Um, Probably, probably we'll just watch the UK interest rate news on Thursday, and then see if there's an opportunity to kind of trade the reaction. We have a press conference with Carney, which will, excuse me, probably be rescheduled or canceled or something. That guy gets off the hook constantly. Everyone else has to stand in front of the microphone and say all the awkward things and answer all the tough questions, and he just doesn't. So, anyways, that's going to be Thursday, and then Friday, of course, we'll have a live session for NFP, non-farm payroll, and Canadian employment news. So, huge week next week. Let's see how this stuff goes. Um, yeah, exactly, Marshall. What's not happening next week, Dennis? I love a little Euro Aussie short. I'm totally into that. Um, Mike, maybe use a coin toss indicator and play some dangerous pre-use trades. Oh man, I knew a trader that would guess before non-farm payroll, before U.S. employment numbers. He would guess for currency trades, and he would say, "Okay, it's going to go up or it's going to go down." And I knew him for a while, and he would send me his little guess recommendations, which of course I never took any of because it was pure guess. The guy was right 12 out of 13 times. He would just guess it's going up. And I think he would take a little bit into account, the ADP numbers and all that. But But that doesn't, there's definitely nothing set in stone there. And he would just guess it, put a trade on a minute before, and he made crazy money. It was totally irresponsible, but he was totally accurate at it, which was super interesting. So, anybody wants to here's the fun thing about that though is you can throw on a micro lot, 10 cents a pip, or or put a demo trade on and just test your wits, see what happens. There you go. That's it. Okay, so let's get down to the nitty gritty. Um, Aussie pairs this week. Let's just kind of see how everything has moved. The Aussie CAD. We took a nice trade on the Aussie CAD from this double top. This was last week. Traded this thing down. It has traded down to our level perfectly. It's run back up to highs. It's run back down. It's back up to high. I don't know what the heck this Aussie CAD's going to be doing, but it looks like it might be ready for a little bit of activity there. So I'm gonna watch this thing pretty heavily and see if Aussie CAD starts to give us a little bit of a break. I just kind of wanted to mention this one because this is such an interesting chart of pure chop. So if we start to really kind of clear these highs, these 9900 highs here, I think well, it's a little lower than 900. I forget how low on the pip side this thing is. 98.75 highs. This Aussie CAD could start to pick up a little bit of movement, but it's not a super volatile pair, so we'll just keep that in our hats. As far as some of the other Aussie pairs go, interested in all things kind of yen related, right? So here's stuff we're watching. We're starting to see, patterns form. We're seeing things happen. The Aussie yen is not totally ready for the big time yet, but it's getting there. You can see on this daily chart, this guy has, made a pretty big move, and I'm pretty down with just shorting yen pairs mostly. I don't really want to short the pound yen yet, but I like some of these other yen pairs, and we're getting closer and closer and closer to some of these entries in some of these nice little areas. Um, so I'm going to watch this Aussie yen. If we get some pullback, if we get some big retracement here, I'll jump in on that. Otherwise, I'm going to wait. Areas that I would kind of watch. Are we going to get a retest of on Aussie yen? Are we going to get a retest of kind of some of this existing, support, some of these levels, 88.40? This thing going to run back up 100, 110 pips? Maybe if it does, I'll short the heck out of it right here. I mean, relentlessly, I will be short Aussie yen right in that area. Now, if it doesn't, then we're going to be looking for a little more confirmation, a little more stuff to happen, and it could take us all the way. You know, it could take several more days, and a movement below 8,700, which isn't that far. We're going to have to get below 8,650 even to really start to get some confirmation. But if we get a nice big pullback, Aussie yen looks awesome for a short. I want to stay on the yen topic or Aussie. Let's stay on the yen here for just a moment. So Aussie yen, 88, 30, 40, 50 looks super interesting. I like that. Um, CAD yen. Look at this CAD yen. CAD, the Canadian dollar has been experiencing quite a big sell-off. We've definitely seen that happen. CAD yen is starting to head into some of these lower targets that we've talked about, that we've listed, that we've been waiting for. We've got a nice monthly pivot down here. I am for sure looking for any opportunity to short this CAD yen. Um, ideally, we get down into this little zone, or excuse me, up into this little zone here, about 100 pips, 89.50-ish area. I'm going to short the heck out of this CAD yen. Now, can we get up there? Maybe the yen news on Monday, causes a nice little spike. If so, be ready, because I think that is such a good sell-off opportunity. And getting this thing up there into the 89, 40, 50, 60, zone. Not gonna split the pips too much. could be a huge, massive entry for a continued major sell-off. Major sell-off. So a little bit of pullback there with maybe some news out of Bank of Japan would be awesome. That area is near the 50% on the down trip and 2 hour chart. All right, Mike. I like that. The 2 hour chart. Little fib levels. I'm always game for some fib levels. So good. Good. So yen pairs are looking interesting. We want to jump on these yen pairs, um, and it's a nice little retracement. Would be good. So let's watch. On Aussie yen, we're looking at about 88, 40, 50. On CAD yen, we're looking at about 89, 40, 50 area. Chef yen has made quite a nice little move here, and I'm pretty interested in this guy as well. You can see on the larger time frame that we've had this really big kind of skiwampus rising wedge in the works here, and that is finally giving us some clearance. Now, the nice thing is it's breaking the trend line and running right down into the 200 moving average. This is the kind of stuff that that will cause a bounce and will cause a little bit of support to kind of hold it. So, once again, let's get that bounce. Let's take that bounce. Let's trade that bounce. So we get this back up into 114, 50, 40, 50, 60. I'm going to start watching this area for a sell zone and trading it down. So you might start to notice a little bit of a theme here. CAD yen, Swiss yen, Aussie yen, just looking for those pullbacks to those resistance areas and being ready to sell off some of that. Euro yen, yes, of course. Now, Euro yen is a little bit of a different animal here because we have this big kind of pattern. So Euro yen is has been running, and we have this big support zone right here at about one. It's 131.90. We call it 13200 if we want to split some hairs here. So right about 13200, there is tons of support on this Euro yen, and that's going to be a little bit of a tough area, but I like that because it kind of makes us feel a little bit like, dang, I missed all this movement. I need to get all this pullback. This one, I don't feel so much like we need to get all this pullback. I think I like this one more in kind of a patience type way. Of this would be a really great one if we don't see pullbacks on yen pairs, then I'll just trade the heck out of the euro yen. If this thing kind of starts to consolidate. All good because we'll just get majorly short at the break of that consolidation. Again, that's kind of this, it's kind of this 131, 90, 13200 kind of zone. Lots and lots of support right there, so that's going to be a great little area to trade that break. Now, we had a nice double top. And if it comes back, if it wants to come back, and maybe we retest some highs, we retest some levels here, and we can trade against that. I'm all for that. If all these yen pairs kind of pull back, we get some big news from the Bank of Japan, and whoops, not that far. We get a little bit of run back here. Then I'm going to be looking for opportunities to short this thing against those highs as well, with still the same goal in mind of trading that thing to the downside. So yen pairs are high on my list, as you can tell. I don't know what the Bank of Japan is going to come up with this Monday, but they could come up with something. They could definitely come up with something. So that's why, and I'm very happy that this is at the beginning of the week because we can kind of get it out of the way and then start really diving into those yen pairs. I'm gonna be watching this all day. I'll have endless chart alarms set, and I'll be watching the heck out of this thing, ready for whatever movement they have coming up. As you can see, everything that I've come across so far, Aussie yen, Chef yen, CAD yen, Euro yen, all look so good, and we'll be ready for those next week. Pound yen, I'm kind of watching this pound yen for this kind of movement here because I think we have a little more pound strength than not. So I was watching to see if we got a little break higher on this pound yen, overnight. Not super interested in it at the moment. It's kind of all over the place. There's better pound pairs to trade, and there's better yen pairs to trade. So that's why That's why earlier on I said I like all the yen pairs, except for maybe the pound yen. So pound yen could have some other opportunities, and I don't know that they're super visible at this moment. Um, New Zealand yen. Now this was a trade from earlier this week, or a recommendation anyway from earlier this week to kind of watch this sell zone and look for pullbacks into that sell zone. Did anybody this week get some New Zealand yen shorts? Anyone get New Zealand yen? I feel like I need to get a pair of shorts that say New Zealand yen on them. But anyone get in short New Zealand yen this week? And Dennis, by the way, I definitely haven't forgot about that Euro Aussie. We're headed there for sure. Anyone get New Zealand yen short this week? That thing was just such a steady, nice little mover. Now yen pairs can be very volatile, but the New Zealand yen is it's a little calmer. It didn't give us the pullback all the way to what I wanted to see. I was looking for a little bit higher. It only pulled back within 15 or so pips of that area, and it's just kind of continued to drop and drop. We kind of started the week off. We had some nice little spikes here, and then it had a retracement into about 78.85, 78.90 area here, and then it's just trickled down 77.90. So just 100 pips of just kind of steady movement all week long, as New Zealand pairs have just been bumping lower. So what is the big picture on New Zealand yen? Well, that's a good question. Um, It is. I feel like I may have lost a trend line or something in here, but New Zealand yen. I think it did. Good grief, that's so good. New Zealand yen has really made a nice clean break of this area. Remember, we've been targeting 7,700. It hasn't gone to 7,700 yet. In fact, it's only down to 78. We had a low of about 77.85, maybe. Um, um, Okay, gotcha, Mike. Gotcha. Yeah, you and me both. Um, so New Zealand yen. This is still golden to death. You guys are probably noticing a major yen theme here. So New Zealand yen. We've taken out this low pretty convincingly. So that's out of the way. 7,700 is still a nice, good, clean target. What's 7,700? It's this simple movement here projected out to that simple movement there, 70. There we go. Oh, actually, it's not that one. Although we're kind of reaching that guy. Symmetry, here we go. It's this guy that I'm looking for. That takes us into 7,700. So there's our 7,700 zone right there. And I'm looking for that symmetry to still play out. If we get some yen pullback, coming into the week here, we're gonna be ready. We're gonna be ready. We're gonna be ready steady for some of this retracement up towards 7,900, 78, 80, 90, 7,900. Here's a 70. This daily pivot sitting here at about 78, 78, 78. So let's look for any opportunities to get some pullback. If we see yen pairs starting to retrace, let's be ready to short and get in on that. There's going to be just such good yen activity. If everything just semi behaves, doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to behave a little bit. And so pullbacks here, we're starting to get some nice trend. We're getting some nice levels there. So as a little bit of profit taking happens going into the weekend, the start of the week, if we get some central bank news, New Zealand yen could just be such a great pair, such a great setup. And if we get back towards these lows right here, 7,600, tack on another couple hundred pips onto that movement, we're all about it. So watch this New Zealand yen. Let's look for levels around, just shy of 7,900. Anywhere probably between about 78.60 and 78.90 is kind of where we're going to be uh, watching for this retracement to happen and some continuation down. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to that. Okay, so New Zealand yen. Have I missed any major yen pairs? I'm not really watching the dollar yen as much. But it is at least at an important area. So dollar yen behaves a little bit differently, right? We got a little bit more of a stock market correlation here. We've got we've got dollar strength, and we've got some pretty good yen strength. So do we want to trade the dollar yen? Heck no. But but we will watch this little area right here. So it's just kind of sitting right up there. If we do, if we do get anything kind of collapsing, any type of dollar strength taking a dive, then dollar yen could be a great sell trade off these highs. We get the yen really reversing and heading. If we get some really bearish yen news, then yeah, I'll trade the dollar yen up above that back towards some of these highs. But as current conditions stand, I don't want to touch the dollar yen with a 10-foot pole. But if there is a big give on one side or the other of the currency pair, then the dollar yen could be really good. But as it stands, like I said, don't want to touch it. Okie dokie. Got stopped out of break even on which one are we talking about? Dollar yen. Got stopped out dollar yen, or where was I before? New Zealand yen. New Zealand yen. Dollar yen. You guys get stopped out on. Oh, New Zealand yen. All right, excellent. So yeah, so yen pairs are high on the list. Now going back to, anyone have any questions? What do you guys think about those yen pairs? I basically, if we have a trend staring us in the face, I want to get some of that action. Now, here's a couple of things to keep in mind on these trends here, right? Here's kind of our bar counts, and here's what we're looking at. Um, we don't have any yen pairs with any majorly high bar counts. I'm on the 1 hour chart, so Aussie yen 61 bars on the 1 hour chart. Um, there we go. There we go. We'll pull out that Aussie yen. So 61 bars, just kind of give you a little idea of what that looks like. Nothing nothing too major yet. So 61 bars there on Aussie yen. And you can see all these yen pairs right there. 61 on Aussie, CAD yen 47, Chef yen 69, Euro yen 24, Pound yen 1. New Zealand yen, we're getting a little bit more extended, 150. Dollar yen 138, a little more extended there. But what all these low numbers here mean is we could be in the early starts of a bit of a trend developing, and so if we have a little bit of a yen pair trend developing, as these numbers are low and stay low, we could be kind of in the early stages of really getting some big movement. If we look at 15-minute charts, we still even have a bit to go on some of these 15-minute charts. Aussie yen 245, 118, 190 on CAD yen and Chef yen, Euro yen 100. So everything's kind of, it's moving, but it's low. And low is good for us now because it means we have some pretty good opportunity to get some trend going here. Okay, that's a lot of yen activity. Um, but I'm super interested. I want to make sure that we don't miss the yen run, because I feel pretty confident about the fact that that's coming. Okay, so yen pairs, we've tackled that to death. Let's look at Aussie pairs. I'm not super interested in too many other Aussie pairs. Well, I don't know, maybe that's not true. Aussie Cat, we talked about that one. That's got some interesting stuff there. Um, Kind of just curious about this Aussie New Zealand. I don't know how much I'm going to plan on doing here, but I want to just at least point this out. We have a little head and shoulders pattern going on with this Aussie New Zealand. It kind of looks like it. Weekly daily pivot down here, bounce it off the 200 EMA. I don't know. This might be worth keeping an eye on. If this does start to break a little bit lower, then it could be a nice opportunity to buy into bigger dips. But we're just coming off, the channel high pretty well here, and so we'll see where that plays out. But Aussie, definitely Aussie New Zealand is at least part of a watch list here. Now, the other Aussie pair that I'm kind of liking a bit is Aussie dollar. The Aussie dollar has just dropped like a rock, and so Aussie dollar. The question is, where is this Aussie dollar headed? What's it? What's it doing? What might we be up against here? Um, and you can see, depending on how where or on how you draw this stuff, there's some things happening there. I got to really stretch this guy out. But if we duplicate some of that, what do we have? Do we have a channel in agreement, or do we have more of a little more of a rising wedge in the works here? It's a very loosey goosey rising wedge, but I think we got one. And then if we even tighten this up more and go up along these guys here, then I don't know. It's coming down into some big support, that's for sure. But as we're inside of this big channel, it kind of makes me wonder where the Aussie dollar might be headed. Now, regardless of where this thing is headed, I'm going to be watching for and looking for some of these big, uh, excuse me, some of these big points, some of these big areas here, right? So, we've got some good stuff happening right through there, and some nice little retracement zones that we can keep an eye on. Whether we're going to get all the way back up there or not, I don't know, but I'll be watching it. But the Aussie dollar, like I said, it's not the biggest on my list, but it's there. But we at least have one kind of short term thing that we can look at and trade and play, and maybe we can grab a couple of pips out of it today. And that is, how far away are we here? Well, 38 pips. Anyone care to take their chances on the Aussie dollar, uh, just running away from these three daily pivots here? Monthly chart, aggressive uptrend line, which broke a very long-term downtrend line. All right, we'll go have a look at that. Um, but on this Aussie dollar here, we have at least a little short-term. This is a good retracement area. Anybody want to grab, 25, 30 pips? Aussie dollar might be the one to do it on. So nice little three pivot lineup. We can look at some shorter time frames and see if the dollar is going to give way at all. It doesn't look like it really wants to, Aussie or U.S. But there's some picks to go for there. What's our bar count on this guy? I didn't remember on the scanner there. 15 minute. How did I miss that? Hold on here. 15 minute. Um, Aussie dollar. Yeah. Oh, there we go. There we go. 326. So this is going to be something to watch today. I missed the bar count. I was more caught up in in the three pivots and kind of forgot that whole bar count situation. But this is a nice little short term. We're creeping up on 400 bars. Nice little short term area to to kind of chase after and go for. We're coming up on a nice bar count for a 15-minute chart. Three daily pivots. Aussie dollar is a good one. I'm gonna watch for dips here as we sit currently. Again, this third pivot 76.78, and here we are 76.43. So a little over 30 pips to go after right here. But I don't mind a little 30 pip run. So we'll look at a little Aussie dollar trade today. I'm going to watch this thing and just look for a little pop and a little something we can jump into. It's the end of the week, so we may not get too much love out of this thing, but on the three pivot side of things and on the 15-minute 200 EMA, it could be a nice little short-term trade to jump into. So we'll keep an eye on this. We'll be ready for it. So if anyone thinks I'm crazy for jumping into the Aussie dollar long, there's your explanation, and we'll hopefully grab a couple of pips out of that thing. Okay, so Aussie pairs. What about Euro Aussie? Euro Aussie, we're asking about here. Oh yeah, Mike. Yeah. You wanted to have a little peek at the Aussie dollar. You said the monthly chart. Is that the monthly chart you were talking about? Come on, give me a little more. Give me a little more data here. Um, we'll go. Oh, let's see. FXCM have a little more. There we go. Come on, guys. What's up? Go to some IDC. How about that? There we go. Get some good data there. So I'm curious what trend line on this monthly. I mean, we've definitely got some stuff happening through here. That's pretty massive. Um, yeah, definitely some stuff to look for. Boy, if this Aussie dollar gets look at that reaction at 7,000. Just the big turnaround. Retest of 7,000, move into 7,000. Could be, could very well be. Okay, so let's talk about the Euro Aussie for a moment. Dennis, you're asking Euro Aussie short, right? You want to know if we should be short Euro Aussie? I keep apparently I'm missing some stuff. Good comments, guys. Let's see. What did I miss on the Aussie dollar there, Tom? Three daily pivots. Yep. Four of five this week, and this weekly pivot this week. Yep. So yeah, we do have that weekly pivot as well. And you're right. Yeah, we have only hit a few four or we've only hit one of the five this week. So that's another good point. Okay, good. Any other comments about Aussie dollar before I switch away from it? So yeah, Aussie dollar, needless to say, should be a nice little easy trade to grab a pop up on. Okay, so Euro Aussie, I like this guy a lot. Here is what we're looking for. Now, I'm not crazy gung ho about Aussie strength, so that's where Euro Aussie is going to be a little bit of a challenge. But Euro Aussie is doing a really good job. This is a massive rising wedge, and this is good looking. We can do stuff with this. But we do need to see, I just would like to see a little more momentum, a little more push on the Australian dollar. But I think that this could definitely be good on the euro short side of things. So areas that I'll be looking for, getting a big confirmation here would be getting us back below about 150. 150 and change really puts us below this trend line and below this area. So 150 is a good spot, to really get that big rising wedge confirmation. So that'll be good. On the short term, I would like to see, I wanted to see this happen, a little more retracement here. It didn't give it to us, gave us a little bit of retracement, left the daily pivot and so on. I'm gonna be watching this thing. At this point, I feel pretty okay about shorting some pullbacks here on the Euro Aussie. I think that's probably a fairly safe bet. So I don't have a specific level. I mean, I'm definitely going to be watching that daily pivot, which is around 152.75 area, about 100 pips higher, for kind of that continuation down. But I do think that the Euro Aussie is a great opportunity of a pair to continue shorting. So Euro Aussie is good. It's really good. We need some pullback, or we need to get some better confirmation on the lower side of things. So we'll watch that. We'll be ready for that. But I do like the aspect of a lot of Euro weakness. So Euro weakness looks like it's in full force here. Euro Aussie's looking good for some sell trades down here. What about Euro CAD? I posted this chart last night. I think I posted this last night. This little level right here, we have a little daily pivot. We have CAD weakness and Euro weakness, so the Euro CAD's a bad pair to trade. But this little level was so interesting. It was coming back to this trend line, and it's really bouncing on the backside of this trend line right here, which is, this guy that has gone up, tested, broke, and then we got back up above it, and we were kind of just sitting on that little level, and I thought, is this going to break out and continue down, or is it going to really pop up and give us a big bounce? Now, it didn't really pop up, didn't give us really anything, just kind of went sideways. I'm still watching this guy. You can see I got a little chart alarm set right here. Move that just a hair lower. Maybe, there we go. If that starts to break, we've got a weekly pivot down there that's good for a nice little chunk. 14800. There could be 100 pips to go after on this thing if it starts to make a break for it. But yeah, getting back below that would be pretty significant and probably kind of open the floodgates of bearish activity. This thing is a little bit more on the, choppy, doesn't really trend too terribly much kind of side of things. It's been, for at least most of this year, it's been pretty sideways and pretty stuck. So I think this is a nice opportunity to grab some pips on the downside. So kind of trading into that little area down there towards that weekly pivot and so on. So EuroCAD looks pretty interesting. Set a chart alarm. I've got one in about 149.50. 149.50 is where I've got my chart alarm set. So just set a chart alarm. If it starts to break lower, maybe grab a pip or two out of that thing. I like that little setup. So EuroCAD looks good short. Did anybody get filled on the Euro Swiss? Remember this one? I sent this pending order out yesterday. Don't really remember when. I guess this will tell me. Oh, 2:20 p.m. Okay, so yesterday at 2:20 in the afternoon, Euro Swiss sell at 116.50 with a scale in at 117 hundo. Uh, no fill. Yeah, me neither. Just wonder if anybody had like a negative spread or like a zero spread broker, or something. Because man, this thing pulled right back to excuse me. Highs there are right at 116. Well, let's see. Might not have even made it all the way to 116.50. 116.49. Ugh. And here it is, almost 50 pips below that now. 45 pips below, give or take. So we haven't missed our entry yet. I mean, we did technically miss our entry, but we haven't missed the trade because what we're looking for here is a massive pattern. This is a massive pattern, and this will very likely chop around in this area. If it doesn't, then we'll be talking about further confirmation and entries probably below 1600, 1550, somewhere in there. But I think we're going to be able to get one more pullback. I want to trade this thing down towards support here at 112. Just below 11300, and I want to look for this 11175, 11100 area. We have hundreds of pips to go after, so I'm not going to try to split hairs too much on this entry. I figured we could get up to that daily pivot, and it got so darn close, just didn't get there. But we probably have a little more chopping around to happen, and that's cool, and we'll wait for that. So we'll let this thing chop around and get some entries on the pullback here. So let's leave that pending order where it is and how it is, and hopefully we'll get an entry there. Did anybody get aggressive and throw an entry on that? Think, this isn't going to make it. I'm just jumping in, or is everyone kind of waiting at pending order territory, which is what I'm doing. I didn't get into anything either. I'm just sitting on that pending order waiting. But 116.50 looks awesome, so let's be ready for that. This is a big, nice, I mean, have you guys noticed? I've just been talking, which is what I do, just talk and talk and talk. But I've been talking about all these daily charts, and we just have such good patterns. So far, all the yen pairs have amazing daily and weekly charts. Euro pairs have amazing daily charts and weekly charts. And there's really some great opportunities coming up here. So we're just kind of trying to preempt some of that movement and get a nice little trade there. So Euro Swiss, it's a pending order. It's been posted in the website. It's posted in Telegram. It's posted everywhere, and it's a nice little entry there. So EuroCAD might be able to grab a couple easy pips on that one. Euro Swiss, pending order, looking awesome. Euro Pound. Speaking of daily charts and all that, I kind of want to get into this Euro Pound, but I don't really know where and how and when, so I'm going to kind of set it out for the moment. A lot of chopping here, but I think I like the idea of the Euro Pound, maybe more than the actual execution of it. But we'll watch Euro Pound. We'll see where this thing goes. Hopefully, it'll give us something. We talked about Euro Yen, which looks awesome. Ooh, what just dropped? Is that Euro Yen? It's coming in hot here. Are other yen pairs doing that type of stuff? Yeah, little CAD yen activity. Got some Aussie, little pop lower on these yen pairs, and that's not the smallest little pop lower. That's a good little chunk of pips. Euro yen looks really, really good. So it's headed into that area. We're still waiting for a little more confirmation, but we're getting a little yen movement this morning. New Zealand yen, or excuse me, Euro New Zealand here. Euro New Zealand, again, going to daily charts. Daily chart looks awesome, awesome, and awesome here. So what are we looking for? This thing has come off these highs pretty strongly. Seems to be holding fairly well. So what I want to see happen on this Euro New Zealand is just any kind of retracements looking good to me. I think we could be working our way into a nice head and shoulders pattern. And that shoulder could turn around here at the moving average. It could head a little bit lower, and if we can get a little bit of that activity, then I will be all over Euro New Zealand. I'm going to be on that thing like crazy, and we could end up with a neckline that looks like this, something like that. It doesn't have to be flat. It could be a nice vertical neckline or angled neckline like that. So anyway, Euro New Zealand is very much on the list to short and trade it on downtown. Um, and we'll see where that one goes and how it plays out. But so far, Euro New Zealand looks like a good, clean, awesome, fantastic, great trade. Um, so let's wait on that a little bit. Nothing I want to jump into in the next couple of hours, but definitely looking good. How about Euro dollar? What do we have going on in this Euro dollar? Anyone excited about this thing? Euro dollar. Um, Dennis in Euro Swiss 116.05. Okay. Is that about current market price? Yeah, you're up a couple of pips, 10 pips. It's all right. We'll take that. 10 pips is all good. Oh, everything's just pushing lower, pushing lower. Oh. But we're not going to try to chase anything going into a Friday close. That is absolutely for sure. Um, so Euro dollar though has left some empty spaces up here. We're going to have a couple of pivots lining up. We're going to start getting into some extended things here and there and everywhere. So I'm going to let this Euro dollar give us a little bit of a pullback. The one thing I don't love is daily necklines, daily chart necklines. We've got this beautiful, wonderful head and shoulders pattern in here. And we had to clear that neckline, which we have done. It's very safe to say that the euro dollar head and shoulders neckline here is done and gone. So that's excellent. So now, at this point, I'm kind of looking for a retest of that neckline, and I would say that there's about 100-ish% chance we're going to get it. And so I'll be looking to jump into euro dollar short, probably next week. Get a little, these things never just move straight down. They can, but it's pretty rare. So a little retest of that neckline, a little bit of patience, a little bit of pullback, and I am all over this euro dollar for a continuation down there. So let's look for that thing to kind of retest 116.50 to 116.75 and look for opportunities to start scaling into that on that big head and shoulders pattern. We have a good couple hundred pips to work with on the downside, so so that looks like a nice little trade, nice little setup to keep shorting. So euro dollar nice and bearish, euro Swiss in a nice bearish pattern, euro Aussie in a good looking one, euro New Zealand coming off those highs. You can see we've got some really good early stage kind of bearish movement on some of these euro pairs. Okay, so a quick little wrap up here on, I'll talk about one or two New Zealand pairs as well, but pound, here is the question. I'm curious, does anybody have an opinion on the pound? Anyone have an opinion on the pound? I'm just, for some reason, this is where the old hunch has to come into works. And on the pound, I just have a hunch that we might see some more pullback than not. Just look real quick on pound pairs here. Pound Aussie, it's run up and it's kind of taken out some of these highs and it's done some stuff there, but it's kind of pulling back. Pound CAD, it's we have some good symmetry here, maybe a little inverse head and shoulders pattern. But some pretty big pullback at this level right here. Did we make the monthly pivot? We didn't. Pound Swiss, pound Swiss is kind of failing a little bit below these high, excuse me, these highs, these channel highs here. We're right at it. Um, Pound yen, in a rising wedge still. Pound New Zealand. Pound New Zealand's probably the most bullish looking of all. Pound New Zealand's kind of cleared everything, and I'm looking for this to kind of pull back and retest these levels and give us, which it's coming back at, in a hurry. Give us an opportunity to buy off that. But I'm just at this point, and it doesn't really have anything to do with Brexit or anything. I'm just not 100% convinced that we have strong pound trend. I want to think that we do. I really want to think that we do. But I just don't know that we have it yet. So, and yes, there is definitely, and you're right, Mike, definitely some big New Zealand weakness factors in there for sure. New Zealand has just been slaughtered, and so no doubt why it's made why the pound of New Zealand's made its way higher than some of these other pound pairs. And I like this little pattern. I like this area. Here's a retest of that zone. Here's kind of a little imbalance this thing made. Is it spiked up? We had some nice levels to watch there, and we're coming right back to it. This could be enough to hold the pound New Zealand for another push and another break and another move into back into those highs, or we might just make one more dip and then make that movement there. So we'll kind of see how it goes and where it goes, but. Um, yeah, it's a good point, Mike. Could get some consolidation before another move for sure. But as far as these pound pairs go, I just pound dollar is just getting hammered with all the other lots of dollar strength. But I'm just kind of watching these guys and wondering, are we getting some continuation? Pound Swiss, has a nice little area that I'd like to see some pullback to. Um, get this back down into maybe a little bit lower into that area, and then start to make that push. So pound Swiss has that. Pound CAD. I like the pound CAD. I like this whole area. I wanted to see it retrace to this daily pivot, this zone. It did that. We have a nice little kind of bullish flag that we can keep an eye on. I like this. I think this is a great little trade. So do we have an opportunity to um, trade that? Probably, and I'll watch that this morning for sure. Especially as we're kind of just testing those highs and running into that area there. But there's some good pips. There's some nice pips to be had on this pound CAD. So there's that. um, and pound CAD looks good. Like I said, I'm just not 100% convinced that we're gonna just see an easy follow through on pound pairs. So that's where I am on those guys. I'd like to see some follow through, and I think we have good potential, but I don't know that I'm super convinced of the follow through yet. So the pound looks good, but it's a little bit on the let's be careful, and we'll see where it goes. Dollar pairs. We've talked about dollar pairs, with the euro dollar and the pound dollar and all these dollar pairs. Nice head and shoulders pattern on this dollar index, and we have broken the crud out of this neckline, which was just right around 9,400. We made it up above 9,500. Nice little move. Let's see what kind of potential projection we could have in there. Well, that puts us in about 9,600, which I think is a very fair target. It's only actually the top of this channel anyway. So our head and shoulders projection looks like we have plenty of juice to go to get into those upper areas and start getting some opportunities to trade more dollar strength. So dollar strength looks good. You can see dollar strength on euro pairs, pound pairs, Aussie pairs. Here's the New Zealand dollar, U.S. dollar, which I'm still hanging on to this dollar strength like crazy. This was our level, right? We talked about 7,000. We killed 7,000 in half, and the New Zealand dollar, 68. We're below 68.50 now. We're into double bottom territory. So you can see kind of that little area there. There's nothing that interesting to the left beyond beyond this. There's not really too much, running through 7,000 there, but we, we're or excuse me, 68 through this low here. But we're right at that little double bottom. It's about 68, a little above 6,800, and it's a good looking area. So let's watch for a little retracement, but I want to absolutely continue trading this New Zealand dollar lower. So what do we have on this? We have some areas, we have some levels on this weekly chart. You can see that it's kind of, we had this tested area, broke out, retested, tried to make a dip, retested, and here we are on that. If we kind of extend that out, we've even broken through that. So really, this is a great area to kind of continue taking this New Zealand dollar lower. Um, Retracement looks awesome. Movements below this 6,800 area looks awesome. I just want to keep trading the New Zealand dollar straight down. We're going to start to get a little bit of some bar counts going on here. Euro CAD starting to break lower. We'll get some bar counts. How are we doing? Let me get a look on this hourly chart. How are we doing on daily pivots here? One, 2, 3 of the last, of the week, so not consecutive. So watch for some retracement, watch for some pullback. I don't think I'll trade this pullback unless something really strange happens. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, have a good weekend. I know how the work situation goes there for you. So I don't want to trade New Zealand dollar higher, but I do want to watch for some retracement and a continuation down. Getting through that 6,800 could really open up some big continuations lower. So let's be ready for that. Okay, so let me see what my Euro CAD did here real quick. Yeah, it's just pushing. It's pushing. EuroCAD's making a little bit of a dip lower there. There might be an opportunity to grab a couple of pips on that. I'll watch that. I might get us into a little something this morning on EuroCAD. I like that one. I think that's got some good potential. Okay, so those are kind of pairs that we're watching for. Dollar CAD, continuing higher. Little tiny bit of pullback there. This was a bull flag I was watching yesterday, and it just kind of continued to trickle higher by 100 pips. So I just watched this and I thought I'm going to let this confirm for a moment. I really wanted to see this thing pull back to the daily pivot and this area. This is a pretty crucial area, and when it didn't, it kind of turned me off on it just a bit. But it worked out beautifully. So bull flag there worked out great. Big picture on dollar CAD is coming into some trend or coming into some EMA resistance. Hopefully a big change in trend is in the works, and be watching for 130, 13500 to kind of get revisited. So little inverse head and shoulders here, kind of pattern almost. Well, not really head and shoulders because we had. I mean, it's a stretch, but anyway, nice little reversal pattern here. Pullbacks, I would be very interested in buying dips on this Aussie, or excuse me, on this dollar CAD. So we'll watch that again. We'll look for some good bar counts. We'll look for those things to happen as this pulls back. We'll jump in on that, see how it goes. But good things are happening, guys. We've got some great charts to be looking at, and I wanted to kind of show everyone the daily charts and the weekly charts as well as the hourly charts, and we have some really good stuff in the works. So, excuse me. So, let's be ready. We got some good trades in the works. Yeah, Tom, it's a good point. Yeah, the pound gave back some movement. We had some. Oh, is that? Oh, what do we have this morning? What am I missing on our news there? Advanced GDP. Is our Aussie dollars, our three pivot lineup working out here? Are we getting some of that? Okay. Oh. Hey guys, I think I'm going to set a little pending order on this thing. I wanted to see any sign of life here, which makes me wonder a little bit. Is New Zealand dollar giving us a little bit of a bump off that nice little support zone? Yeah, it is. Nice. So Aussie dollar, a little better numbers, a little better details. Let's see what Aussie dollar does. I'm gonna put a little pending order here on some pullback, sitting at 76.60. This is 78. If we get this thing back down 10 or 15 pips, let's jump into it and buy it. So I'm gonna put a pending order on. Excuse me. Good grief. Sorry guys. Pending order, just kind of back at that area that we were at. So right in, kind of this 45. Oh, never mind. Maybe not. Maybe not. Jeez, news is definitely giving. We're getting a nice little push there for sure. We might be headed right into that daily pivot. Did anyone jump into the Aussie dollar? Yeah, that thing's making a nice little push there. All I cared about was the kind of the three pivot lineup. We haven't hit it yet, and there's still a chance we won't. But it looks like we're kind of headed that direction. Um, I'm putting a pending buy at 76. Um, I'm going to put a pending buy at 76.45. What's our low here? 25. You know what? I'm going to go pending buy 76.40. 76.40. That this thing could just give us a nice little, ISM news is always. Is that what we had today? We had ISM news today. I don't have that. Am I too heavily filtered here? Um, oh yeah, a little University of Michigan consumer sentiment. All right. Well, regardless, let's look for some pullback. I'm kind of between the. How much do you think we can get after here? 20 pips. Okay, I'm going to put a buy trade here. I've been back and forth. 76.45. We'll take spread into account. Target pivot at, where's our pivot exactly? 76.78. 76.78. Okay, so if we get a little pullback here on this guy, that'll be a nice, quick, little easy 30, 30-ish pips, which we'll take. We'll take a little 30 pipper. I have no problemos with that. So if it gets in our retracement area, that news, boy, consumer sentiment really caused a stink right there. So remember, this trade's only valid. I only want this trade if we pull back before hitting the daily pivot. If we hit the daily pivot, then I don't want to get into this. I don't want to get into this if we hit the daily pivot first. So this is only good if we pull back first and then run to the daily pivot, not the other way around. Everyone good with that? Everyone makes sense on that whole situation there? Okay, guys. So that's what we're looking for. We've got some good trades in the works. We've got some big patterns. I know this week I was a little silent and I just was letting these markets play out. There was lots of good trading opportunities, and as news goes, I know some people that made some great money this week. Group members that have sent me private messages and kind of kept me updated on everything. And sadly, I know people that have been slaughtered this week, and so sometimes when we get these crazy news weeks, I get a little bit careful. There's no need to, no need to kill ourselves trying to, play the gamble. So anyway, that's what we're looking at. Questions, guys? What do you guys think? What does everybody think? How's everyone feel about all that stuff? Yeah, all good, Tom. There's only 10,000 different names for all these. All these news announcements, so no problem. Everyone good on anything? You guys have any questions? Any currency pairs you want to bring up? Any thoughts you want to bring up? Any things you want to bring up? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Take your time. Think about it. Think about it. If everyone feels pretty good on all of that, then we'll leave it. We'll leave it at it, and we'll be back next week to really chase down some of these big patterns. I love to see that we're getting a little bit. Obviously, I'd love to be in that, but I love to see that we're getting a little bit of retracement, a little bit of pullback. We're kind of keeping the balance here. We've had some strong runs on dollar pairs in particular, and we're kind of keeping that balance, getting things to maintain some amount of normality here before we get some continuation. So it's nice to see a little bit of profit taking in the works, a little bit of stuff happening there. We're getting some movements. How did our euro yen do? Pulled back just a hair. Euro CAD still choppy mess. I don't think I'll trade that euro CAD today. I think that one's messy enough for all of us to stay away from. Nice little bump on euro dollar. Ooh, I like that. I like that. Give us another 40, 50 pips and we'll be short euro dollar. So all these charts have really, really good setups for us. Let's just be ready for them and be ready for the action. So thanks, everybody. Nice to see you all. Have a wonderful, fantastic, excellent weekend. I will be dressing up like Buzz Lightyear at least a few times this weekend. We got Hendrix we're all going Toy Story uh, motif this Halloween weekend. So Hendrix is dressed up as Woody. He's Woody. So he's been sleeping in his costume and wearing it for 2 days straight. It smells of dirty little sweaty kid, but he loves it, and it's the cutest thing I've ever seen. So have a wonderful weekend. I know Halloween's on like Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever it is next week, but hopefully you guys have some good Halloween parties to attend this weekend. And otherwise, thanks everybody. We'll have some good trades coming up next week, and I'll get us into some more stuff. But I think we have some great analysis, some great charts to watch. So let's take it from there. Good luck, everybody. Happy Friday. Happy weekend. Catch you guys all next week. And take care, everyone. Nice to see you all. See you guys.